Rumors tell a story about Rock Island's district that you don't see immediately. Legend has it that downtown Rock Island is connected by a series of Prohibition-era tunnels left over from the past.
Tonight, Local 4's Chris Langlois separates fact from fiction as he takes us inside the Rock Island Underground.
The history of Rock Island is deeper than what you see on the surface.
They were well known for having these underground passages.
Above ground at the district's Hickey Brothers cigar store, it's all business. But after a trip down the stairs and through a hole in the basement wall, business fades to the background. Owner of Hickey Brothers, Michelle Royal.
It's still creepy each time you do it.
Wow. The crew and I didn't know what to expect, but we took the plunge into what Michelle calls the tunnels or catacombs that run under 18th Street and the district. A series of light bulbs marked that path at first, but the deeper you walk, the darker the tunnels become.
I knew where I was, and now I don't know where I am.
We didn't have to guess how old these walls are. Our findings date the tunnels back more than 100 years.
This is an old telegram they got from Iowa City.
Hiding in the dark and behind a jail cell of cobwebs, an old bank vault, busting with banknotes and checks from the Civil War to early 1900s.
It's just check upon check.
Scattered liquor bottles read, "Federal law forbids sale or reuse of this bottle." Finding this history is easy, but answering why these things are here is the challenge.
Rock Island has a history of underground passageways between houses and buildings.
To find out just how deep a history, we turn to someone who knows the story inside and out. Jim Meeker is a Quad Cities filmmaker with more than 25 documentaries to his credit. One of his most recent looks at the notorious history of downtown Rock Island.
There was prostitution in every corner of every building.
The documentary Citadel of Sin tells all, starting with Quad Cities gangster John Looney.
They controlled all the hotels, all the bars, all the liquor stores. During that era, he was making booze and selling it to the hotels. So he had a lot of income coming in from illegal sources.
Underground activity made possible by going underground.
Probably moved a lot of that booze underneath ground into the various locations.
Those various locations in the district are ingrained with Prohibition's past to this day, and Hickey Brothers is just the start. Terry Tilka has owned downtown's Rock Island Brewing Company for nearly 30 years. During that time, he's heard the stories of tunnels, prohibition, and prostitution.
I believe it. I believe it all. It's got to be true. There's just too many things that just don't add up.
After buying his building, he started finding things too.
When we tore apart the building next door and got into the walls is where we found the old liquor bottles, all the old gambling things, gambling devices. It was probably pretty bad. I'm sure it was some sort of speakeasy in its day.
A trip to their basement adds to the lore of Looney's legend and his influence on downtown Rock Island.
There was some pretty crazy stuff going on down here.
Scrawled on the walls of the century-old space, speakeasy-style painted pink elephants kept watch over this illegal behavior.
It looks like they're dancing and someone painted names on all of them.
But when it comes to connecting the opening in Hickey Brothers to places like Ribco,
At one point there was an opening here.
someone wanted that past pathway sealed shut.
What you've seen so far is pretty much this sort of thing. Rubble, history of the buildings before, the eras before, old bottles, bank checks, but every once in a while you'll cross something that strikes you like this wall here, relatively new compared to the rest.
Key points within the 18th Street tunnel have been blocked off, and what lies behind the bricks will stay sealed for now.
It has history. It has, a footprint of those people who came before it.
He was conducting business with everybody downtown, trying to extort money out of them. And it would best be possible to do that from underneath without having to be out in the sunlight where people could see what you're doing.
But for now, the tunnels will stay dark until the next explorers do some digging in the underground, looking for answers and a story. Chris Langlois, Local 4 News at 10.
If those walls could talk, Quad Cities filmmaker Jim Meeker will be on Local 4 News this morning, tomorrow. Let us know if you have any questions about Rock Island's underground tunnels. Send them to us on the WHBF TV Facebook page with a comment under this story.
So interesting. It makes me want to go down into our basement and scrounge around a little.
See what you find a little bit?
Exactly.
I like those checks and all the bank materials. Also very interesting. Supporting members of the military and their families.
How the Rock Island Arsenal